You can develop discipline and really strengthen that skill and that muscle. And it's simply in just adjusting your expectation of what the journey to success or the journey to your end goal is. Welcome back to the podcast. I am feeling a lot better. I'm coming on not to go dark again, but actually to share about discipline. Humbly, I am a very disciplined person. A lot of people always ask me, like, how do you stay so motivated? I'm not motivated right now, but something I am is I'm very disciplined. When motivation falters and burnout comes in and out, it is really hard to stay motivated, but it is not hard to flex discipline if you have developed this skill. The most successful people are not the smartest. They are not the most qualified. They are the people that take action consistently over and over time. A huge part of being successful requires you to be present, to make fuck you money, to be mentally well, to work through a trauma. You have to be present in the journey rather than getting caught up in the helicopter view of where you're not. You're listening to How I See It, hosted by Han. You guessed it, that's me. I am here to motivate and inspire you with guests from all different industries and backgrounds. So get ready for personal stories of success, of growth, full of highs and lows, and of course, unapologetic realness. This is How I See It. Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm jumping on for a solo today, quick solo. I just thought I'd let you guys know that I am feeling a lot better than I did the last time I showed up for a solo. It's actually crazy. Like, I feel like that episode, if you didn't listen or don't know what I'm talking about, I really opened up on the last solo episode I did about just how much I've been struggling. And I opened up a lot about like the therapy I'd been doing. I'll link it below just in case you haven't watched it yet, because I think it's really beneficial to listen to if you're in like a dark place right now. But I am feeling so much better. It's so funny because I feel like after I put that episode out and I filmed it and I like forced myself to sit in front of the camera, I think I wrote a Substack that week too that really just like took a weight off my shoulder. The moment I did all of that, I started to like feel a lot better. I think that I had been holding that in and not able to say out loud some of the things I'd been feeling around my fear of happiness and holding on to the past too tight and not being able to make space for gray areas. So anyway, I'm coming on not to go dark again, but actually to share about discipline, which I actually feel like not only is a part of, building success and business and entrepreneurship, but I think discipline really encompasses all areas of our life, our mental health, our routines, our wellness. I feel like a lot of people admire my discipline. Like, humbly, I am a very disciplined person. And I think a lot of people always ask me, like, how do you stay so motivated? And I really don't think that it's about being motivated, because right now I'm so overwhelmed. I'm definitely burnt out. I need to like take a hiatus, a just like solo trip and like probably go to the Joshua Tree and recharge, because I'm truly so burnt out. I'm not motivated right now, but something I am is I'm very disciplined. And when motivation falters and burnout comes in and out and the ups and downs of business, your mental health, the healing journey come into play, and especially those low moments, it is really hard to stay motivated, but it is not hard to flex discipline if you have developed this skill. I saw a video and I actually posted it on my Instagram because I ended up like stitching it. This girl was talking about the characteristics of women who make fuck you money and who are successful. She goes into talk about like mental clarity and the intense amounts of discipline that you need. And it really inspired me to want to talk about this, because I think that a lot of people don't think that they have access to discipline. I think a lot of people think that it's like a natural, almost like natural characteristic that people are born with. Like, some people are more disciplined than others. That is just not true. I think that you can develop the skill of discipline. I always say that the most successful people are not the smartest. They are not the most qualified. They're not the ones with the best ideas. They are the people that take action consistently over and over time. That requires discipline. I truly believe that you can develop discipline and commit yourself to discipline and really strengthen that skill and that muscle. And it's simply in just adjusting your expectation of what the journey to success or the journey to your end goal is. Because I think discipline is not just with work. Like I said, it's with any goal that you have for yourself. And there are layers to this because I do think that a lot of discipline requires confidence in yourself. And we've all heard the saying, to build confidence, you have to keep the promises to yourself. I think it's Ed Milet. Love him. But with that said, I don't think enough people talk about the small stakes ways that we can keep promises to ourselves. It is very hard for people to keep promises to themselves when the promises are so big and they're so charged. A huge part of being successful and a huge part of getting to a goal, an end goal, or executing on something that you want to be committed to requires you to be present. And I think this is where mental health comes in and where, really being regulated and having like very intense mental clarity comes in. Because, and this is something I really need to apply to my emotional and mental health more. And I guess that's what I mean about adjusting your expectation. I think there's this weird expectation that success or an end goal is going to come quickly. It's going to be easy. It's not going to require immense amounts of grit, of insecurity, of self-doubt. And if we can adjust our expectation and move our intention to being in the present, I do think we can remove some of the charge that's attached to the anxiety that keeps us from executing on the things we need to get to our end goal, aka the discipline required to inch our way closer to our goals. Again, whether that's our business, whether that's in creating wealth, whether that's in our mental health. I don't know if it's social media, I don't know if it's the human condition, but we all want things like this. And the most successful people understand that staying present is required to be successful, to get to that end goal, to make fuck you money, to be mentally well, to work through a trauma. You have to be present in the journey rather than getting caught up in the helicopter view of where you're not. The reality is you cannot wake up every single day thinking about the helicopter view, the goal, how far you are from where you need to be. Like, of course, I know where I'm going. I know what my end goal is. I know where I want my brand partnerships to be, where I want the podcast to be. I know where I want the agency to be. I know where I want my revenue to be. I know where I want to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I know where I need to be to accomplish my goals, my dreams, where I want to be to feel my healthiest, where I want to be to feel the most mentally well. I've thought about those things through and through, but I do not think about those things every day, not even close. If I thought about where I wanted my podcast, my business, my bank account to be every single day, it would be very hard to stay disciplined. I wake up every day and I choose to stay present, especially in my business. Again, I'm really working on it in my personal life and in my mental health. But in regard to making fuck you money and running a company and staying motivated, I wake up every single day and I choose to be present in the moment. I know what my to-do list is every single day. I know what needs to get done to move the needle forward, and I do it. I get everything I need to done on the to-do list and I move the needle forward. I do that every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year, and that compounds over time. I know that if I keep that promise to myself, that I will be successful, that I will get to where I need to be. It has compounded so much for me. Not only has it built immense confidence in me, in my business, in my ability to overcome and be resilient as an entrepreneur, as a human, but it has brought me the success I have. I by no means have fuck you money, but I'm successful. And it's because I have flexed discipline in the present moment every single day. I don't have the expectation that I'm going to have it easy anytime soon. I have this understanding and knowing that I am going to be grinding for a long period of time. And with that understanding and just like the choice to stay present every single day, I'm not intimidated by that. I mean, I think aside from the fact I also love what I'm building, but like I'm not scared of how long this journey is going to be. I'm not scared of how much work it takes. And I think that lack of fear is because I force myself to stay present. I don't think about how far I am from like if I'm at B, I don't think about how far Z is. That's overwhelming. That would send anyone into a spiral and feelings of doubt and insecurity. I think about how I'm going to get to C. And then I think about how I'm going to get to D. And then I think about how I'm going to get to E. It's easier for me to wake up and face, my business and everything I have to do because I'm only looking at the present moment. If you can do this, it will make the process and the journey so much, I don't want to say easier, but truly so much easier. It will be easier to start building discipline towards your goals. You're not getting caught in the what ifs, in the risks, in everything required. Even with this podcast studio, like if I thought about all the things that were going to go wrong with the cameras or the rent, or I just had a huge fight with like my leasing office because we've been having like people in here and I didn't tell them, like if I considered all of those things, it would be much harder to start. I've had a lot of conversations with people recently, men and women. I'm thinking of like two scenarios in particular where I have over and over and over again given them like the code. I've given them like the strategy. Both of them want to like do stuff in socials and build revenue from their online business. I have spoon-fed like the current thing to do tomorrow, or I should say yesterday, strategy. And both of them, their responses, and this is not to hate on them, this is more so to show like essentially the human condition and what happens when people are just so debilitated by the big grand old picture. Both of them have not started. And I've spent months, one of them years, trying and speaking into them of like what they should do like in the present moment. And their response is always like everything that can go wrong, or like they get hung up in the details and nitty-gritties of like having everything figured out, which is just procrastination. And over time, it deteriorates confidence. It deteriorates self-trust, which makes it even harder to execute. This doesn't mean like you don't think about the long-term goal, like you do. But the problem is a lot of people get stuck in thinking about the long term too much, and it debilitates them and it blocks their capacity to be able to build discipline. I wake up knowing that if I get the to-do list done, that I will feel successful that day. Not only will that be true, but it solidifies this confidence and this confidence in knowing that I have the discipline to get to where I need to go. And again, not only does it build confidence, but it compounds, and you will look back at the end of the year and see that you have jumped monumental steps towards that big long-term goal because you stayed in the present. That is discipline. So I think it's important to really put examples, tangible examples to like what I mean by like these small stakes actions and these small stakes things that can really like build discipline. And I'll start with success and like in business, and then I'll move into like some mental health and just overall wellness practices that I do that build confidence, that build this discipline, that build this overall healthy lifestyle. I don't think enough people talk about how much discipline is required in living a healthy lifestyle, and not just like in the way of the gym and eating well, though that those are important and they're small stakes. I think living a mentally healthy life requires discipline. So let's go back, starting with the business. I think a lot of people ask me like how I do my schedule, how I whatever, and it's a clusterfuck. It's chaos 24/7. I am nowhere close to being like the healthiest and the most mentally well. But I would say I have it down to a science, and I think that takes time too, like creating space to evolve and pivot and not being scared to change and not beating yourself up if something doesn't work. But for me, like I'm glued to my Google Calendar, like everything is in there. If it's not in there, it doesn't exist. I am able to look at the month at the beginning of the month and kind of see what's up. But quite frankly, I don't even really do that. I don't look at the full like month at the beginning of the month because that's overwhelming. I have too much to do. There's too many things to get accomplished. Like I know that will deteriorate my motivation and discipline. So I look at usually a week on Saturday and Sundays. I will look at the week I have ahead, what I have planned, what the goals are, and I kind of like align myself. I think that really helps me on Sundays, especially with like the Sunday scaries. For me, I work half days on Sundays. Or like fold. It's like a half day. I work a half day on Sundays. I just know for me, I have to do that. It will calm my anxiety. It brings down my cortisol, and it allows me to get ahead a bit. So when I wake up Monday morning, I'm not feeling like the stress of everything that I have to do. Again, setting myself up to feel like confident and disciplined. I have a to-do list every single day, and I do it on my computer, but I have friends who do it on a notepad or a planner. I'm not a planner person. I'm a Google Calendar person. and a notes app person on my computer. And I keep my to-do list there for the day, the absolute non-negotiables that need to get done. And then I also have like a little to-do list of things that like just have to get done this week in case I have extra time, which I usually don't. But just so I can see it and I know what's like going on. And I keep a promise to myself, and I'm not perfect, but I'm pretty committed to making sure that every single thing on the to-do list gets done for the day, the one for the day. And I don't have this like system. I know a lot of people, I've listened to so many podcasts where people are like, I start with like the most important to whatever. Like, not for me. Like, I just like do what feels right. Anything that I feel maybe is like harder, I try to address first while I'm like fresh. But even then, like I more so go with like the feeling of just get this to-do list done, stay present, get everything you need to done, get this list of things done. And I'm, again, pretty committed to it in the sense of, and I know this isn't for everyone, and I know this isn't like maybe the quote unquote healthiest thing to do, but like I will stay up till midnight if I have to. I will stay up till 1. I don't have a husband. I don't have children. I don't have responsibility besides my business and myself. Like, this is the time for me to hustle and do these things. So to me, I look at this as like a no excuses. I've gotten really good at creating space for myself, especially in regard to being disciplined with my mental health. Like, I have gotten way better this last year at looking at something on the to-do list and being like, actually, I put that for today, but like that's actually doesn't need to be done today. So like I can go get a drink with a friend. I can put this down and read a book. I can go on a sunset walk. So I think it's about like evolving and pivoting and figuring out what works for you. But I do think keeping this promise to myself, like I feel so accomplished. You guys, like I say that humbly, like I feel so good about how disciplined I am. Like I think it's a huge flex, and I treat it as such because I know that I've developed this skill. I know that I'm responsible for really nurturing this characteristic within myself. Was it maybe like fueled by trauma and the need to high achieve? Maybe. But I do think like a lot of people have the ability to flex discipline in some form. And I think if you're trying to build fuck you money, you're trying to build a business, like this is required. There is a level of hustle required. And I do find that just focusing on the to-do list, getting it done, and doing that every single day, rinsing and repeating, really does move the needle forward in immense ways. In regard to my mental health, I am committed to going to therapy every week. I do not skip. I am disciplined with it. If I have a shit ton of work to do and I haven't finished the to-do list yet, I do not skip the session. It's disciplined, and I understand that it's a huge part of me being able to be successful and me being able to be just like a healthy human being as well. And so I keep that promise to myself. It's like reoccurring on my calendar. I just do not skip. Even when I'm feeling good. Like even if there's a week where I'm like, well, actually, like I'm feeling good this week. So like I could probably like put my head down and work more and just skip therapy. Like, no. This is a part of the routine. This is a part of your discipline. This is what makes you mentally well. This is what makes you successful. Like I have that understanding with myself, and I have that same understanding with myself when it comes to my physical health. I work out 5 days a week. Am I perfect? Of course not. I sleep in some days. Things are chaotic sometimes, but I would say that I'm like over 80%. Like I do not skip. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I work out. And that's not only so that I can look my best, because that's important to me, but that's also so that I take space to do something that I'm committed to for myself that's not work. Do I kind of view it as work? Yeah, like it's on my calendar. I don't like necessarily enjoy working out, but it's something that I'm committed to, and it's a discipline that I've integrated into my life to fully make me the best version of me, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, everything. I do think that sometimes people feel the overwhelm of like everything they need to get done and where they need to go. And so they're like, fuck, like I got to skip my workout. Skipping anything that you're committed to is of course okay every once in a while. But I think over time that can deteriorate your confidence in yourself, even if you don't realize it, because you're giving up things that you have committed to. And I don't even mean like in actuality, because like you're 100% going to get the late fee, which is like the worst thing ever. The Pilates girls know, but you're deteriorating your confidence in subtle ways because you're not keeping small promises to yourself. So if you can't keep small promises to yourself, why would you even be able to even work towards the big goal or the big dream or the big business. Supplements, skincare, those are huge parts of my life that I also flex immense discipline within. I am really dedicated to taking my supplements every week. Am I perfect? No, I'm rushed sometimes. I'm in a mood. I don't do it. But I would argue again, it's something that more often than not, I do. I know that fish oil is a natural antidepressant. I know that I need B12 for energy. I know that I want my hair, skin, and nails. I know that I need saffron for that extra happy surge. I know that I like to take ashwagandha because it settles my nervous system. My skincare. I am anal about skincare. I feel like if you're paying thousands of dollars for your face, which I am, filler, Botox, Sculptra, all the things, you should be dedicating your time to a skincare routine that's going to protect your face and make you feel your best. I'm obsessed with Marini Skincare Solutions. If you've been following me for a while and you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that I'm obsessed with the brand. I've had Jan here many times. I talk about it a lot on my Instagram. Those products are my holy grail. I am disciplined when it comes to my morning and nighttime routine. I'm disciplined when it comes to using the BioClear, which is like great for your chin and bumps and texture. I also use the vitamin C serum. I feel like if I don't use that, my like gua sha and like new face routine is not set up properly. I don't have that glow. I'm using their Reboot serum, which is their new salmon product, and that's for collagen. Like if I'm not looking and feeling my best, I can't execute at the level that I execute every single day. And I know that maybe sounds stupid, but I really think these are the low stakes examples of the commitments we make to ourselves on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis that are so easily ignored or maybe so easily not followed through. And they, I think, subconsciously contribute to not having that confidence that you need to be able to be present. It all goes back to being present. Even with something so simple like a skincare routine, I have the expectation and know that tomorrow I am not going to notice a difference with my wrinkles. I'm not going to notice a difference with the pimple on my chin, but I will notice the difference in like maybe a week. I'll for sure notice the difference in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I will 110% notice the difference at the end of the year if I have been diligent about my skincare routine, if I have put SPF on, if I've gone to therapy every week. I can't even tell you the compound effect of therapy. There is a compound effect that doesn't just have to do with money, that has the potential to make us into very successful, healthy, mentally well humans. And it doesn't always cost a lot of money. I think that we are in a society right now that is so obsessed with the quick fixes, with the peptides. And I love peptides, obviously. If you've been following me and you've been listening to the podcast, you know. But like, we're so obsessed with these quick fixes and instant gratification that we forget the art of discipline. We forget that the skill of discipline is required to be the best versions of ourselves. I guess the point of this entire episode and what I really want to leave you with is that you have access to discipline. You have access to immense amounts of discipline. You have the capacity to build immense amounts of discipline. Anyone can be disciplined. It's up to you. I can tell you the strategy of what you should do for your business, of what you should do for your mental health, of the routines you should do to make your skin better, the things you can do in the gym to make yourself look better. But if you are not committed to doing that and showing up for yourself every single day, you will never get the results you want. And furthermore, you will never get the success or confidence that you're looking for, whether that's in your business, whether that's making fuck you money, whether that's being a mentally well person, whether that's getting fit. You will never reach the helicopter view. You will never reach the end goal if you're too focused on the end goal and not thinking about moving the needle forward in the present. And that's all I got for you. I feel like this was a bit of a rant, but I think it was necessary. I really feel like more people could have more access to their dreams, to their goals, to money, to success, to peace and happiness if they really believed that they had the capacity to do the things they want to do. And I do think an easy way to start really keeping the promises to yourself is small stakes, everyday accomplishments. But we're back next week with another episode. This is all I got for you. I hope this helps. I hope this inspires someone to start a business, to execute on their dream, to get to the gym, to start putting their SPF on in the morning. I think that truly is what life's about. I don't think it's about, success. I've been asked by a few people recently, like, when will it all be enough? And I truly believe, and I think I have enough self-awareness that, a lot of my issues don't root in that. I feel like I'm very present and have an understanding that like it's not in the end goal. It's not in chasing the feeling of accomplishing something. I think it really is in the journey, as cliche as that sounds. And being present and choosing to be is a huge part of that. And that's something I'm actively working on in my mental health. And I think that even saying all of this out loud has really inspired me to really apply the skill that I believe have humbly become an expert in when it comes to my business. Really trying to apply that to my healing and happiness and being able to be present in the small moments of mundanity. We're back for another episode next week with an amazing guest. We have such cool guests coming on the podcast, you guys. I'm so excited for you to hear their stories. We've been, just like really building a community recently. So I'm so thankful for you guys. I'm so thankful for the listens and the follows of the podcast and also the ratings and reviews. Please do that for us if you haven't already. And we will see you back next week for another How I See It podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode and I hope you leave here feeling motivated and inspired. Do not forget to rate and review the pod on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And don't forget to follow How I See It Pod so you can keep up with podcast updates and see who's coming on next. And if you're not already, come join the fam and follow at How Han Sees It. Thank you guys.